This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Andie Kramer. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing just fine. How about you?
I am excellent, my friend. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Chicago, Illinois, right in the middle of the U.S. of A.
All right. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Well, I think that it might be the work that I've been doing to try to overcome gender bias and help women advance in their careers.
That's awesome. That is definitely something that is needed in our society today. Tell me, who did you learn the ability to stand for what you believe in from?
That's a good question. I think that I must have learned it from my parents because by the time I was 7 or 8 years old, I was prepared to take a stand, even if it was not going with the flow. So
like the crowd, yeah, like.
That's right. I was prepared to stand up to them and pay the consequences. So
That's intriguing. Tell me an example, like when you were younger, like something that pops into your mind immediately.
Well, the first thing that came to mind was there was a boy that lived in the neighborhood, and I would walk with him and we would talk about books. And the cool kids thought that he was fat and stupid, and they didn't want to hang around with him and would tease me if I would talk to him. And I told them that I thought he was interesting and I was going to walk to school with him. So then they started to tease me as well. But that's the first thing that came to mind, actually.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, tell us how you're doing it now for women, please.
Well, I try to do the same thing, even if they try to bully me. So what I've been doing is I'm a lawyer, and I have been working for the last 30 years to try to help women advance in their careers. And the most recent efforts have been I wrote a book with my husband about what women can do to overcome bias in the workplace. And we just finished our second book together, which is at the publisher now.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. You know, the fact that you both wrote this book together speaks immensely in terms of what he stands for as well. And I'm guessing the partner you choose at the same time, yeah? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's got to be right. And in the first book, we only spent 12 hours when we were not talking to each other. And in the second book, we didn't have any time that we weren't talking to each other. So we still get along.
Love it. Well, 12 is our favorite number here on the podcast. So I'm glad that the 12 went to 0. That's great.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me, why will you continue, Andie, to be this person? Definitely as going against the grain has the challenges that goes with it. Why will you continue?
Well, for me, I think that the answer to that is because it is important to me. And I evaluate things based on what I think is important and what I think is right. And so, for example, I don't think that making fun of boys because they're fat and people think they're stupid, and I don't think that it's okay to hold women back in their careers just because they're women.
Now, for those that are listening, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Our website, and it is andieandale.com, and I spell Andie, A-N-D-I-E, so it makes it a little complicated. It's A-N-D-I-E and A-N-D A-L, which is my husband's name. So andieandale.com.
And of course, amazing audience, we'll have that in the show notes so you can get in there and just click if it's challenging to spell. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Well, one of the things is I started a jewelry business for charity. And so I make jewelry. I try to source it from women and children to benefit women and children, and I try to benefit people in need. So that's been a very important outlet for me.
How does that make you feel?
Terrific. I love to do it.
Where did that come from? Like, I didn't expect that one. Like, from I stand for women to, I make jewelry as well.
To make jewelry. Yes, right. Well, actually, I was doing some teaching in Africa and Asia, and the fabrics and the jewelry were so interesting to me that I started to bring the beads home, and then I would started making napkin rings. And after about 9 billion napkin rings that I gave to everybody I know, my husband, who is a sensible, smart man, said to me, "You cannot make another napkin ring." To which I asked him, "Why do you care?" And he said, "Well, because that bead is too beautiful. You can't put it in a napkin ring." Wow. And so he kind of started my jewelry career because he was right that the beads that I was using were just too pretty, too beautiful to put in napkin rings. So I had to come up with another way to do it, and thought that it would be another way of trying to help the charities that I care about.
That's great. Now, is that available as well as on andieandal.com as well?
I think there's probably a link to it because it's Andie K is the name of the jewelry company. So.
All right. Well, suggest to someone that's listening why they should do what you've done by integrating the creative side of your business with the values that you carry.
Because some people think that it's much too hard to try to change the world. And I've always thought that if you do it one person at a time, one project at a time, that you can make a difference. And so that's really why I do what I do and would encourage other people that it's not too big a bite. You can start in little places and still make a big difference.
Love it. All right. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Andie, what's your earliest childhood memory?
Well, my earliest childhood memory is actually a thunderstorm. When I must have been probably 2 years old. My sister was a little bit older than I was, and I remember the two of us, and I remember the thunderstorm. And that was that's actually probably my earliest memory.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Well, I don't know, actually, but my sister was always a scaredy cat, so maybe she was reacting pretty. I don't remember her crying, but I suspect that was probably part of it.
How do you see that memory when we look at the power of connecting to who you are today?
Well, maybe a sense of empathy for her.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I wasn't laughing at her.
Well, that's intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture?
Sure.
Yeah. I love the concept of two are better than one. And again, the combination of like you and your husband and how you are both better off at weathering the storm. So in that particular scenario, it was a thunderstorm, but the position that you took of being confident for her, I'm sure it helped ease the edge, if you would, of what her experience would have been. So to see that you're doing that not only with your husband, but that you're doing that for other women, and that continues. I love how that connects.
Well, I love your interpretation. I'm going to stick with it.
There we go. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
The Who, I Can See for Miles was my favorite song.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Andie?
I'm ready.
Andy, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I have.
Now, you are married, right? We spoke about
Yes.
Al. Do you have children?
Yes. We have a daughter. She's a medical doctor.
No. Do you believe in God?
Sometimes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Don't watch TV at all.
Wow, what was screen time? The phone and the computer. Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's definitely less than 8 hours a day.
That's great.
Unless you count my day job where I'm sitting at my computer all day.
Oh, yeah, we need to count that. So
then it's probably more than 8, clearly.
Right. And what about reading? How often do you read?
I love to read, and I read most of the day at work, and then to listen to books. Very often, my husband and I will listen to books on tape.
That's great. When you say tape, are we talking like cassette tapes? Like these?
No, now it's Audible or
books, yeah.
CDs. Yeah. But I think they still call them books on tape, even though they're not cassette tapes
Well,
anymore.
many people like that are listening don't even know what tapes are. They're like,
I think you're right. What the hell is she talking about?
That's intriguing. Yeah. All right, my friend. If you had to share with us your own unique, real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Andie Kramer, what would you say that is?
Somebody that doesn't give up easily.
Love it. Andy, this has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I think I would like to share with them that I would rather be in the Caribbean than in Chicago.
Andy, you are amazing. Again, folks, Andy is the co-author of the book Breaking Through Bias, Communication Techniques for Women to Succeed at Work. And she did that with her husband. Check it out. Andie Kramer, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by McDermott Enterprise.